What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I am a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, I thank you so very much for being here. We made it. We did a whole nother year together. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new and you didn't do the whole year, that's okay. We are moving into a next year, and you can tag along for that as well. I appreciate all y'all so much for being here. If you like this and want to see some more, you can go to zambonifunk.com. You can get a reading there. You can get a 10-minute reading like this where I'll sort of just break it down for you. You can get a 60-minute reading where we can talk back and forth. We can have a little Zoom chat and have a conversation about the context of your life. There is music available there on Bandcamp and Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Pandora, wherever you get your music at, YouTube, all these places. There's music there. I am super proud of it. Thank you so much for listening to that music. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm out of time for the plugs. So let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. So this week, So first week of 2024, we are looking at, currently Mercury is retrograde. So Mercury is about to station direct. That is cute. But, the way that I feel this first week is still like sort of kind of getting around the corner between last year and this year. So as we move into January, we're going to see a lot of sort of gusto and zest for doing things, especially as Mars is currently at the very end of Sagittarius and is going to move into Capricorn, and that's going to happen later in the week. So we're talking about like Friday, I think. Mars is going to move into Capricorn, and so as Mars moves into Capricorn, then we're going to be like, Mars is extremely powerful and effective in Capricorn. Mars is said to be exalted in this position. Exaltation is like, like able to, so Mars is like a very strong and action oriented, wants to move around and do the stuff. And then Capricorn is a Saturn sign. So one thing that can be a problem for Mars sometimes is that it'll like do the most. It'll be like moving around and like kind of breaking things. It's like all of the energy, right? Capricorn, a Saturn sign. Saturn is the planet of boundaries and discipline and maturity and stuff like this. It's like putting blinders on the horse, you know what I mean? Like, so the horse isn't going to get super distracted. The horse is going to take all of that big, strong horse stallion energy and go straight, right? And so it's focused. It's a harness rather than diffuse energy, right? So Mars is really great in Capricorn, does a really good job. This Friday, Mars is going to move into Capricorn. And so before that, then it's like not a lot of, it's some like still end of Sagittarius. Mercury is stationing direct. And as Mercury is stationing direct, so a station is a stop, right? So Mercury is not moving in the sky. So whenever we see Mercury not moving, then it's like Mercury not doing a very good job doing the Mercury things. Even if we're stationing direct and starting to move forward, still Mercury's in Sagittarius, a sign that Mercury's not very comfortable in. Mercury in Sagittarius is square to Neptune. Neptune is anathema to all of the Mercury things. Mercury's trying to like get clear understanding of what's going on in the world and make it intelligible and make it communicable and this kind of thing. And then Neptune is like, what if we just confused everything all of the time? What if none of the information was real? So Mercury is having a real tough time there with all that. Mars at the end of Sagittarius is caught up in that bullshit. And so there might be a little bit of this like confusion, I don't know, diffuse energy, right? Like the before the blinders go on, there's like all of this, well, I don't know what to do. And like, there's so many options and maybe all of the stuff, right? And so this moment, and also at the same time, Venus has moved into Sagittarius, right? So Venus had been at the end of Scorpio and is now in the beginning of Sagittarius. In the beginning of Sagittarius, then Venus is going to make a square to Saturn in Pisces, and who is in early Pisces right now. So as Venus is going through that square to Saturn, square is going to be like some kind of like conflict or tension or difficulty. And then to Saturn is the wall, the obstacle, the impediment. It's difficult to do the things with Saturn around, right? So it's Venus's job to like bring harmony and joy and togetherness and cooperation, coalition building, sweet things, all of this kind of stuff. So we're looking at a square to Saturn, an impediment to sweetness, an impediment to relationship building or something like this, right? So it's difficult times as far as Venus is concerned. It's difficult times as far as Mercury is concerned. Mars is like having a bit of trouble with stuff, right? So we've got to get over a hump still. So I'm thinking about especially the beginning of this week as being like getting over the hump, getting around the corner, like getting to a place where, you know, like, so if we're at the end of the year now, we're thinking about like resolutions, or we're thinking about what the new year is going to bring, or maybe setting intentions or something like this. I've been very deeply engaged in this question around like, what do I want, and what would really matter to me, and this kind of thing. And the main thing that I keep coming to is, I don't fucking know. So like just not knowing what I want and this kind of thing. So is like, there's time for that. Maybe there's time for that at the beginning of the week, where it's like, okay, well, maybe I just sit in this not knowing. Mercury is stationary square to Neptune. Like maybe I just sit in the soup of that for a little while and just maybe feel the sensory sensations of all of the things. I can like take stock of all the things that I am thinking and feeling toward, and be like, okay, well, what actually feels good here? And then as Mars moves into Capricorn, then not only is Mars great in Capricorn, Mars is exalted there and able to be extremely effective in performing actions, doing things, picking up heavy objects, and doing all of the Mars stuff. Mars is really strong in Capricorn. Not only that, Mars in Capricorn is going to make a sextile with reception to Saturn, who rules Capricorn. So Saturn is in early Pisces. So as Mars moves into Saturn's sign of Capricorn, then we're going to see a sextile. Sextile is going to be like a complementary aspect. It's one of these ones where this is Saturn in Earth and Mars in, or Saturn in water and Mars in Earth. And so the water feeds the Earth and nourishes, and so things can grow out of that, right? So there's a complementary relationship going on here that can be very helpful in getting the Mars and the Saturn things done. It's also worth noting that Mars in early Capricorn is going to be making a trine to Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter's job is to bring abundance and to confirm things, say yes, to build things up, to give some kind of spirit of meaningfulness, or it fills you up with this kind of like joyous feeling. That's how Jupiter tends to prefer to function. So a trine, which is a stable and supportive aspect, is between Mars and Jupiter, looks really good for doing Mars stuff. Now, of course, this does look really good for warring as well, right? For people who are like trying to make war with another person, like this is really good for that as well. However, if that is not you, and maybe you just want to be more effective in your job, or more effective in your arts project, or whatever it is, whatever kind of Mars shit, maybe it's the beginning of the year and you're going to start a new dietary or exercise regimen or something like this, right? Like you're going to get your body together. Mars loves doing that kind of thing. So this looks very productive. It looks very effective for doing that sort of stuff. So at the beginning of the week, there's this sort of stoppage energy. We've got Mercury stopped. We've got Venus square to Saturn, like running into the obstacle and this sort of stuff. I don't know what I want. I don't even know what feels good. Nothing feels right anymore. Like this kind of like feeling goes on at the beginning of the year. It's okay if you don't necessarily know what you want at this point, but it's a good time to sort of ruminate, just sort of sit with it and feel through what might be going on there. And then as Mars moves into Capricorn, then it's time to get moving, get that ass in gear and see what type of shit you can accomplish. Because as Mars moves through Capricorn, and then a little later, Mercury has stationed direct, and so it's going to be moving forward. Mercury is going to move into Capricorn. And then a little later after that, Venus is going to move into Capricorn. All these folks are going to make this same sextile with reception to Saturn in Pisces, same trine to Jupiter in Taurus. That is going to be with reception when Venus does that. So that's going to look extremely effective and able to do stuff. So now is a good time to think about how we want to do it. And then once all the stuff moves into Capricorn, then it's going to be time to move, to push, to get ourselves into position to have the most effective, efficient, productive year possible. Thank you so much for being here. Check out ZamboniFunk.com.